Super Bowl 57 matchup is set. I swear you've been ducking me because I correctly predicted both of these teams getting into the game. We're going to be breaking this down in full all next week. But what I wanted to ask you is, what do you think the biggest storyline is going into Super Bowl 57? And again, we'll get into our full analysis next week. But if you had to pick one storyline going into this game, what is that in your opinion?
Man, it's Jalen versus P. Holmes. Like P. Holmes Patrick Mahomes, man, he just continues to impress. High ankle sprain, limping like hell, and that ain't that they say, knock on wood, because I never had a high ankle sprain. They say you would rather break your leg than have a high ankle sprain because it's a nagging injury. But for Pat to come off a couple of days, and for him to have to get that 3rd and 8, and running was gonna hurt him. Sitting in the pocket hurts, but actually running, like, man, this either KC in a Super Bowl or die. And just to see the way Patrick Mahomes pretty much just gave everything he had to win that ball game was very impressive. Very impressive. Because you now you see everything. If you let him sit in the pocket, which everybody keeps saying, when you let Patrick Mahomes sit in the pocket, he's not as magical. He proved that. Okay, now Patrick Mahomes, when he's healthy, he's hell. He'll throw for 4 touchdowns anytime he wants to. Now let me see what Patrick Mahomes can do hurt on the high ankle sprain. So you catch it, like Patrick is doing everything. He's writing chapters in his book. Playing hurt, losing cheetah, playing healthy, finally beating Joe Burrow and company from losing 3 in a row. Like, he's showing you, and as a player, I just continue to keep watching him, because you always want to see next phases of athletes. Okay, I know what he can do when he's healthy, but what he going to do when he hurt? Okay, all right, he lost probably the fastest dude in the league. All right, what he going to do? Okay, he got a short week of practice. Will he be the same Patrick Mahomes? Now I got to switch it up. Okay, now it's a crucial moment in the game where Patrick Mahomes be able to scramble. There you go. So Patrick Mahomes, over the course of his career, he has done nothing but just write chapters. If people paying attention in his life, his football life, that's very impressive, Mark.
My niece and nephew are growing up in the Kansas City area. My brother and I, we had the opportunity to grow up in the Chicago suburbs, so we got to appreciate Michael Jordan's greatness in the 90s, and we got to grow up with that. That was part of our childhood and our youth. And when I'm learning to read, write, and spell, when I'm learning numbers, 23 in the Bulls, Michael Jordan, it's synonymous with the city of Chicago. And I liken that to what Patrick Mahomes is doing in Kansas City, now that my family is there. And that's the level that I think about it, of they're going to get to root for someone who by and large is an upstanding guy in this league. And that, not to say anyone's perfect, but it warms my heart that this is someone he'll get to root on and cheer for as he learns the sport, and as he starts to grow up in life and learns to love sports, something that my dad passed down to me, Ike. And so outside of football, I take comfort in that with Patrick Mahomes and what the Chiefs have been able to do. Having said all of this, the way that the Eagles have played this season in a dominant fashion in a variety of ways, right, I do think that they have to be favored in this game, and there's reason for that. And if I were picking right now, Ike, and we'll talk a lot about this next week, I'm picking the Eagles. And I look at the number of total rushing touchdowns they've scored this season, 39, most by a team in history. And you tell me all the time late in the season, and it's a cliche, and people can roll their eyes about it all they want to. Come November, December, January, February football, it's a little bit different than what you have early on in the season in September and October.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about P. Holmes, let's talk about Jay Hurts. And the adversity Jay Hurts had to overcome when he got to Matter of fact, let's swap it. Let's just go all the way back. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts when he was at Alabama.
Yeah,
So he
you're in
go
my
from,
brain, Ike.
yeah, he go from Alabama, wind up getting sat down in a whole national championship game, come back. So you know what? Let me go to Oklahoma. Go to Oklahoma. Damn it.
Hang on, Ike. Hang on, Ike. It was he gets benched in the national championship game, and then in the following season, Tua's the starter. Tua's struggling. Remember, they brought Hurts in off the bench in the SEC championship game, and he was ready and he delivered. And he could have pouted and said, "Hey, I'm getting benched. I'm not getting my opportunity." But when his number was called and Bama needed it in an SEC title game in a must-win game, he delivered, Ike. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, so he got sat down, came back, delivered. Then he wound up going to Oklahoma, wind up almost winning the Heisman
Mm-hmm.
at Oklahoma. Getting drafted by a city in Philly, you know, it's tough in Philly. It's tough in Philly. I mean, when Philly first started 2 years ago when they got their head coach, they didn't start off too well, man. They was throwing roses at their coach, the fans. So everybody know when you go to Philly, it's gonna be a tough city. Ain't no such. They say it's brotherly love, but that's a tough love in Philly. You got to be mentally strong if you're gonna do anything in Philly. So he wound up coming to Philly, man. I don't think they really embraced him like that. You could just tell looking from a distance. But man, he always overcame adversity. He always embraced adversity. But he always been like the natural leader, the natural captain. Like everybody who talked about Jalen Hurts, they had nothing but good things to say. Like everybody understood, like Jalen Hurts could possibly outwork you in the weight room. Jalen Hurts gonna study his butt off in the film room and do everything he needs to do. So Jalen Hurts is really and truly the franchise face of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jalen Hurts wind up getting hurt as well throughout the season. Well, what the hell he gonna do in the playoff time later on during the season? Can he shake back? Jalen Hurts done shook back. So yeah, Jalen Hurts for me, man, he checks every box you want him to check off on being a quarterback. So that's why when the moment is big, he's accustomed. He's just used to it. By the way, I got legs to run. So when you said 39 touchdowns, Jalen Hurts, I think Jalen got 15 of them 39 touchdowns, Mark. So now it's really and truly 11 on 11. And what I mean by 11 on 11 is, man, you got to have a spy. So when you have a spy, either you're taking somebody out the blitz or now it's one-on-one coverage between Adams and Brown, and you know they're gonna give you hell. So it is just a special and unique situation over there. 2,000-yard receiver sitting over there. You got 1,000-yard running back, and you got a quarterback who rushed for 15 touchdowns. That's very hard on the mentals as a DC. That's a nightmare. That's Freddy Krueger all day. That's Jason all day. That's Edward Scissorhands all day. That's Chucky all day if you're a defensive coordinator. So they just got something special going on. And I do agree with you, Mark. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win the Super Bowl because I'm just looking at their defensive line. So
Oh,
they got a rotating between 6 to 7 coming off the bench. That's why them boys stay fresh. And all they say is go. Green light. That's all that line do is green light everything. And they're able and they play off of each other. Usually when you see guys have success, you know, it's a lot of guys that, you know, like, why I ain't getting my sacks? Now all them guys embracing and love each other and they all getting sacks just depending on the situation of the game. So they claimed a few guys during the season from free agency, and they just hitting right now. So they clicking on all cylinders right now in the Philadelphia Eagles. There ain't nothing they can't do, to be honest with you. You know, you ain't got to blitz at all. You can just get the pressure all the time from the foe. And by the way, man, we got the best offensive line. Everybody on our offensive line is going to the Pro Bowl. So
yeah, they've got like 3 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line, Ike. And it was just like I had to do a double take when I was watching one of their playoff games. It was like, wait a second. It was just like, yeah, we're that dominant up front at the line of scrimmage.
yeah, they the complete package, Mark. I mean, and everything starts up front. You know, I got a hell of a D line. I got the best O line. And from that point, you ain't really got to say too much because from a front office standpoint, that's exactly what you want. You want the best D line, you want the best O line, and the coaches they can pretty much coach however they want to coach after that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the foundation of a house. You know, we use this analogy. You know, when you build a house, you build it from the ground up, and that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles did on both sides. they built it from the line up.
Ike, next week will be Super Bowl media day. What was the best question you got asked as a player?
Man, I don't even know, man. We were clowning so much. Mark, me and my homeboys on that media day sitting up on the podiums. Mark, we were clowning, cutting up. We was cutting up. We were having so much fun. Really, that got me into TV because ain't nobody really know my personality. So, doing the interviews and getting on the podium, they're like, hold on, Lil Slim got a little swag with him.
Mm.
And once that came out, then that's when the calls start coming in about, possibly being guest on shows. So I just had to figure out who I was on TV. So, and I remember producer just told me, be you. He said, don't worry about how you talk. Don't worry about your accent. He was like, you know enough information, and the way you say it, you're going to capture more people's attention on just being you. And once he told me that, I just took off. Because they was trying to get me to, a speech pathologist and all that good stuff. And my producer, he was like, hell no, we ain't doing none of that with Ike. Like, I get about to sound like everybody else. Just let Ike be Ike, and the ratings will go through the roof. I'm telling you.
Smart.
And what happened?
Smart. And our people that watch this show, Ike, I always like it's that New Orleans, and it's the Cajun twang. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I've learned to embrace it, Ike.
I like that, Mark, the Cajun twang. I like that, but I gotta use that.